Since I ended my schooling and started work, I have had no relationships. I have, alas, started to become very frustrated. I am now out of my teenage years. My employment is as a secretary for a manager of a small firm. Whereas it is not a real man's job, it takes home a wage. The wage I take home is far more than I imagined I would be earning when I left school. Indeed, in my first 6 months of working, I had made enough money to put a deposit on a flat in a very nice part of town. Best of all, the flat I put a deposit down on is 40 minutes drive from my mother. This means I do not have to worry about my mother and my little sister Charlotte coming over and annoying me all the time. The final godsend is that I will be able to get away from them, and I will be finally able to indulge myself in my own little dream world. This may all sound very peculiar to you all, but I love to relax at home in my nappies and my plastic pants. As well as this, I also like to be a girl whilst dressed this way. I love to wear pretty and cute clothing. Now that I am free from my mother and sister, I now get the chance to dress this way whenever I want to. My name is Peter. I am very small for my age. I am constantly being mistaken for someone a lot younger than I am. This is all very good when I board buses and trains, as I can get away with paying a younger person's fare. However, this fact also has its downside when going out with my friends. Because of this downside, I turns to wear dress suits and mature clothing most of the time when I go out to make myself look older. My younger sister Charlotte has always been bigger than me for as long as we were going to school. I am really jealous of Charlotte when we are out together. By the way, I forgot to mention that Charlotte is a year younger than I. Charlotte knows that she is bigger than me. It appears that she loves nothing better than to let me see her, in her grown-up clothing as often as she can, always stating how far more mature she is than I am. However, I do still love Charlotte all the same. This evening I am having to make a trip home to my mother's house. Myself, my mother and my sister are all going to have tea and watch a movie. This is something we all try to do from time to time. When I arrived at my mother's house, she pointed to 2 plastic bags full of clothing. She asked me to take them and put them in the charity bin on the way home, as she knew I would pass a few. The clothing in the bags are Charlotte's old clothing from the last 4 years. In those last 4 years, Charlotte has developed and alas no longer fits into them. Instantly my mind began to wonder what clothing was in the bags that Charlotte was getting rid of. In the past, I have secretly tried a few items of Charlotte's clothing on without anyone knowing. At least this is what I thought. I had never ever been caught in any of Charlotte's clothing. However, I have at times come very close to being caught on a few occasions when either Mummy or Charlotte returned home early from somewhere. If I had been caught, I am not sure they would have said anything nasty to me, as we are a fairly liberal family. My father, who I have not mentioned yet, walked out on my mother when she was expecting Charlotte. So since Charlotte was born, there has only been the 3 of us. Mummy made sure that both myself and Charlotte were well versed in the facts of life. However, it appears I was a lot more curious about certain subjects than Charlotte was. Many times I had been home alone with certain reading material that the majority of young men may have from time to time. As well as this, the internet had more than opened my eyes. Just taking a backseat and listening to some of the things people spoke about made me curious. Bearing this all in mind, I started to explore. One day whilst browsing on my computer, I came across the term ABDL. I delved deeper into this term and found a new world that I never knew existed. As soon as I saw the first picture of a female wearing a diaper, I could not take my eyes off of it. From the moment I carried on looking, spending hours online, and finding more wonderfully amazing things. These wonderful amazing things ranged from adult babies to sissies, to all kinds of things that brought me such joy. I had always known about transvestites, T-girls, and she-males. However, the thing that really struck a chord in my imagination were the guys who dressed as adult baby girls. I had never regarded myself as gay or even remotely bi. However, these pictures had me fascinated. I just knew from this moment onwards I would have to try these things for myself.